we are going to talk about marker use. Now, a marker is a signal that tells your dog they've done the right thing. So you might have heard of clicker training. Clicker training is using a marker. A lot of people will say to me that clickers don't work, their dog doesn't do anything, but that's not the point of a marker. The marker literally tells the dog, that is the behaviour that I like, that is why you're getting the treat, or I'm going to throw a toy for you. So you can use a verbal marker or a mechanical marker like a clicker. So there are pros and cons. So the pros of the verbal marker is you always have access to your voice. If you forget your clicker, it's not the end of the world. You can still signal to your dog. And also some behaviours, you might need a treat in both hands, or you actually just might not have enough hands if you're doing a lot of lead work to hold everything, or if you've got multiple dogs. The con to using a verbal marker is that it's not consistent. So whereas if I used a clicker, me and my partner could have exactly the same marker and it's precise, a verbal marker, you don't have that. And also it will vary between you. I get very excited in training sessions, so I'm like, yes! She looked at me. And my tone varies. Now, dogs are clever enough to deal with this. The pros to a clicker, or even just a biro pen making a click, are that it's consistent, you don't have to worry about it being emotional, and it's a novel sound as well. So when I train, I like to train both. So I use the word yes as my verbal marker, and I use a clicker as well. So there are a few rules to using a marker. It always has to be followed by something the dog loves. So if your dog loves food, then it always has to be followed by a piece of food. Because the problem is if you go, yes, and don't feed, I know I said it, didn't I? Then that's going to weaken that association and the word will start to not mean anything to your dog. So it always has to be followed by something your dog loves. And we generally use it when we're training a behaviour. So if your dog didn't know sit, what we would do is when your dog sits, you would say your verbal marker, or you would click, and then you would reach and get a treat out. Once they know that behaviour, then you start to fade using the marker out. So you might say it the second time you ask your dog to sit, and then the third time. And the other times when you don't use the marker, you would still say good boy, good girl, so your dog is getting verbal feedback, they've done the right thing, but you're not saying the marker, so you're not having to give them a treat. The good thing about a marker as well is that you can build up duration with it. So if I do the hand touch, and you can see as soon as I marked, as soon as I clicked, her nose came away. So the marker signals to the dog that that is the end of the behaviour, which is why it's really a good tool to build up duration, because she will stay there until I either say my YES word or I click. Good girl. Ready, touch. Yes. See, she took her nose away again on the yes. So it's a really, really good tool to build up, and it's really precise as well. So it can be very good for teaching difficult behaviours, or when your dog will only give you a second of a behaviour, you can mark at that precise time, and then it doesn't matter if you have to faff for a few seconds to get your treat out. Now it should very much be you ask for a behaviour, down, they do the behaviour, you mark, and then you reach into your treat pouch and get a treat out. What you don't want to do, Lynn, sit. She's like, you're going to ask me to go down anyway. Come on, up. What you don't want to do is go down, reach into your treat pouch, and then click and feed, because at that point, she wasn't actually paying attention to me, she was just watching my hand. So you want to make sure that you mark first and then get a treat out. So I'll show you how to introduce a marker now with a dog that doesn't know what one means, and then you can have a go at introducing it to your own dog. Good girl. This beautiful girl is Eva. I'm going to show you how to introduce the clicker for her. So if you wanted a verbal marker, it's exactly the same way. You just want to pick a one syllable short word. I tend to use the word yes. So step one with the clicker is just to click and make sure your dog's not scared of it. This is a box clicker. If your dog is scared of this, then you can get button ones which are quieter, or you can put a little bit of blue tack on it to make it a little bit quieter. So all I'm going to do, Eva, is build an association. So click, feed, click, feed, click, feed. And what you'll find is your dog starts to look at the clicker going, are you going to make that funny noise again? Because I get fed. Good girl, very nice. Once you think your dog understands what the noise means, you then ask for a known behaviour. Come here, ready? Down. And as soon as they do the behaviour, you click and feed. Good girl, very nice. Get it. So you want to make sure it's the right order. Ask for a behaviour, click, and then reach into your treat pouch and get a treat out. What you don't want to do is reach and click at the same time, because otherwise your dog isn't listening. They're just going, you're going to give me food. So we'll do it once more. Down. And then reach. Good girl. So that's how you introduce a clicker, and it's exactly the same way if you wanted to introduce a verbal marker. Good girl.